So, get ready, because what went down in that octagon wasn't just another scrap. This was a seismic event that completely shattered the lightweight division and left everyone picking up the pieces. On one corner, you had someone who looked untouchable mentally, and on the other side, a weight class that's now carrying some serious damage. But here's what nobody wants to say out loud. This result isn't just another win or loss. This thing lit a match that's going to burn through the entire division for who knows how long. We're going back to square one here, because every single devastating moment of this incredibly savage and chaotic encounter led to a decision that still smells like there's way more to this story. The truth is what matters most.
Obviously delivered in the main event, capped off with a war. Just give us your thoughts on Justin Gaethje and Paddy Pimblett delivering a 5-round battle.
Yeah, I mean, what a couple. So Paddy Pimblett at the weigh-ins yesterday says, I'm going to knock this motherfucker out tomorrow. And I was like, that's interesting. And he never abandoned that game plan. Even when, he got dropped a couple times, I kept waiting for him. I'm like, he's eventually going to have to shoot and try to submit him. Now I didn't know Paddy Pimblett had a chin like that till tonight. And, yeah, absolute dogfight in a war, and much respect to both guys.
The only choice. And I knew he wasn't going to quit. He's not a quitter. I've never seen him quit, never seen him give up. And luckily I found some success early. Like I said, I was going to have to steal some momentum, and half of wrestling is stopping people from taking you down. And that's what I was best at. And so luckily I was successful tonight from keeping him there. I thought I grappled well. I was in his guard, in his guard a little bit. If I took my foot off the pedal for a second, he was on my ass. And he did a good job up to the last second. I really wanted to finish him. But I loved teaching him a lot. He said my face was not going to look the same after the fight, and his would look the exact same. So as soon as it was over, I was like, well, look at your face, motherfucker. It does not look the same. You cannot have that mentality when you come in there. He needs to accept the worst possible outcome, and that's how you perform the best, when the pressure's the
I know what I'm talking about. I knew Justin was going to win, but I will tell you guys, he won it in kind of a fluky way. There were multiple eye pokes, and he kind of did get him in the balls. But, chat, can I ask you guys a genuine question? And I'm not shitting on anybody. Do you guys really think either of them are going to beat Topuria? Come on. And I like both fighters, but, dude, I'm not going to lie, bro. Topuria is going to kill whoever. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. It really does not matter. That's the problem. Dude, Topuria is it's going to be crazy.
Hold up, though. Before we break down every brutal second, you need to brace yourself. What I'm about to walk you through goes way beyond just strikes and submissions. This isn't some typical fight analysis. We're talking about heart drama and sequences. So wild, they'll completely change how you see this whole sport. So here we go. But I'm warning you right now, nothing can prepare you for the absolute insanity that's coming.
The emotions after the victory were obviously very clear in the cage, but I just wonder if you can kind of put it into words now, just how much that result meant to you and getting the win tonight.
Yeah, I felt like I took winning for granted for a while. I feel like I just never lost. Now coming off 2 losses, I was like, man, it really feels good to win. So I just, yeah, I don't usually get like that too. I usually after a win, I just kind of, like I said, I just feel like I'm always going to win. So after coming off those losses, I was definitely felt good.
Yeah. Not an easy fight, obviously, and you dominated the third round. First 2 rounds were a little tougher. What do you think was the key to having such success in that third round versus what played out in the opening 2 rounds?
Yeah, I feel like the first 2 rounds, like he took me down at the end of both of them, but he didn't really do anything. I don't know. I feel like I didn't even know I got hit. Tim said there was a video he hit me with like a left hook, but I just feel like I didn't even take any damage other than inflicting, damage on myself from kicking him and stuff. But yeah, I feel like I won every round as far as damage goes, but I'd have to go back and watch it.
Yeah. The way the judges had it, they had you winning round 1 and round 3 obviously was clear. I know after the fight was over, I saw you're walking around, you're like, hey, that's my fight. I won that. That's my fight. Was that you kind of like hoping and thinking, or did you know for sure? You felt confident?
Again, I didn't feel like I got hit. So in my head at the time, I must have got hit once or twice, but I really didn't feel like I got hit.
G versus Topuria, it's probably going to be a crazy fight also, most likely.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting. I think that Ilya hits like a truck, and so does Gaethje, and I think if Gaethje prepares properly and gets ready for this fight, it should be a fun one.
That opening bell sounded, and they slapped hands. My stomach immediately dropped. The way Justin moved forward wasn't confidence. This was pure violent intention, written across every single step he took. Paddy's leg kicks weren't just defense either. These were last-ditch efforts to hold back a tsunami. Here's what's been eating at everyone, though. All these rumors about Justin's condition going in, people wondering if he was hurt, if this would knock him out of title contention. Nobody really knows what he was dealing with, but the power he was unleashing could make anyone second-guess themselves. That arena atmosphere completely shifted. The oxygen got sucked right out as Justin started launching those devastating body strikes, and his right hand turned into this unstoppable weapon. You felt everything change when those massive overhand rights started flying. Suddenly, this wasn't about game plans anymore. Pure chaos had taken over. This wasn't skill meeting skill. This was raw animal instinct crashing into someone fighting for their life. Right there in the opening round, somebody realized, way too late, they'd walked into a hurricane. They couldn't control, and then boom, that knee connected, followed by a crushing uppercut, and down he went. But check this out. How Justin went after Paddy wasn't tactical or measured. This was straight predatory driven by killer instinct. When Paddy somehow rolled and got back up only to get dropped again immediately, that's when it hit me and probably everyone watching. This isn't competition anymore. This is heading somewhere really dangerous, potentially career-ending territory. If you think this was just carnage inside the cage, you have zero clue about what almost completely destroyed everything backstage afterward. That story's coming, but it's essential context. Justin's assault mode had completely transformed him, and he was throwing bombs like defense was a foreign concept. He was literally walking into uppercuts, eating shots like he was proving something, practically begging for punishment. Then came that eye poke. Blatant, nasty, completely obvious. But here's the crazy part. The crowd lost their minds and booed the wrong fighter. Right there, something fundamentally cracked in this whole fight. Because controversies don't just appear from nowhere. They grow fangs exactly when someone benefits from all the confusion that follows. Remember that. Round 2 detonated like a bomb. Pure violence unleashed. Justin was swinging so hard he was tripping over himself. Dangerous combination of fury and fatigue. Meanwhile, Paddy's uppercut became this relentless, brutal machine, landing over and over with stomach-turning precision. But incredibly, Justin just kept coming forward, treating the pain like a personal offense. Pay attention here, because this is when the rumors started. People ringside, the ones who could see everything, they caught something subtle, something potentially fight-changing. If what they witnessed ever gets revealed, it's going to completely rewrite this entire round and maybe the whole damn fight. Justin kept firing those crushing body kicks, his right hand snapping necks back with terrifying force. But the really scary thing was Justin's expression when one of Paddy's shots finally connected clean. Not fear, not even close. Cold, calculated thinking. That terrifies me way more than any panic, because fighters don't look like that unless they're deliberately choosing punishment over self-preservation. Going past boundaries no rational person would cross. When he forced Paddy to the ground and started diving through a storm of upkicks, I thought this is seconds away from catastrophe. This is the point where nobody comes back the same. Somehow, Paddy made it through. He was destroyed, barely aware, his face painted with cuts and blood. But he survived that round. Round 3 started, and like clockwork, he got dropped again. Felt like the fight universe wanted him finished. But in some supernatural display of heart, he bounced right back up like nothing happened, defying every law of physics. This is critical, though. Right here, Justin's attack volume dropped just a tiny bit, but enough to notice that microscopic dip, that barely visible momentum shift. That's the hairline crack where all the controversy and doubt is going to pour through later. Paddy's leg kicks started eating Justin alive, his jabs landing more and more consistently. Then another moment of pure drama. Knee to the groin. Accident or intentional. Nobody knows, but it completely stopped time in that building. When they resumed, Paddy looked reborn, fresher, crisper, while Justin was clearly irritated in a way that usually leads to terrible choices. If you think this timing, this sudden energy flip, is just coincidence, then you're not studying this sport or this fight carefully enough. The championship rounds felt almost wrong to watch. Justin was throwing absolutely everything, including the kitchen sink, but Paddy's counters were sharp enough to punish every single approach. The toughness from both guys was ridiculous, almost superhuman, but remember, toughness, while amazing, can also mask reality. There's something definitely strange about how this fight's flow changed so dramatically. It felt forced almost, created by pure exhaustion rather than real dominance. By the final round, the crowd was completely unhinged. A spinning tornado of excitement, raw power versus endless durability. Neither guy, absolutely neither guy, was ready to quit. Then it happened again. Another knee, another direct groin shot. Justin crumpled, grabbing himself in pain as time seemed frozen. I'm watching this thinking, wow, this finish is going to look really weird once people start asking who knew what and when they figured it out. Then the judges spoke. 48, 47, 49, 46. Another 49, 46. Unanimous for Justin. Immediately, my mind went, wait. Pump the brakes. Because those scores don't just crown a champion. They tell a story, and stories like this, the really complicated ones, they always have footnotes that nobody reads until it's way too late. They're calling it Fight of the Year. Instant, legendary status. Sure, it was absolutely crazy, but real classics, genuine sport legends. They don't usually carry this many question marks, this much bubbling controversy, this much raw, unspoken tension buzzing underneath everything. It keeps bothering me, though. Somebody somewhere is staying very, very quiet right now. Someone who definitely shouldn't be. That silence is screaming louder than anything else. You might think this story wraps up here, with hardware around someone's waist and paperwork closing the chapter, but I absolutely don't buy it. Because divisions, these whole ecosystems of fighters and aspirations, they don't forget nights like this. Fighters hold on to resentment, athletic commissions keep records, and mountains of documentation follow afterward. If even half of what I'm hearing half of what's being whispered backstage is accurate, then this result isn't resolving anything whatsoever. This isn't an ending, it's just postponing an inevitable detonation. I can't shake this disturbing feeling that somebody somehow escaped consequences, that something vital, something truly explosive, was purposely buried under all the blood, all the mayhem, all the incredible action. Every time I watch this fight again, my instincts scream, no, this story isn't finished. Not by a long shot, because the very next revelation, the next piece of intel that surfaces, could completely flip everything you think you witnessed. So sit with that uneasiness, because while everyone else celebrates what they saw, the questions keep piling up relentlessly. Bitterness is quietly building pressure below the surface. The lightweight division right now feels like a bomb, with the pin barely holding. And when it finally explodes, and it definitely will, don't act shocked, because this fight didn't really end. The cameras just stopped rolling.